pisses me off is bullets. I get so angry when I hear this person call. When I see this person call about blood, and it makes me do what I do. And that's the reason we are changed, is what it is, because we are working hard for the first responders and first responders. And we will not stop until we get justice for it. My good friend David Miller, he's the first of the 96th Infantry of the New York Army Federal National Reserve Guard. He was an Iraqi war vet and a proud member of IVAW, Iraqi Veterans Against the War. Everybody, please give a huge round of applause for David Miller, everybody.
Thank you, and I love you, but I always mess it up. I was with the 1st and 69th Infantry, New York Army National Guards, 42nd Division. It was the largest National Guard unit in New York State, and on 9/11, myself and 200 other members from Company C went down to the Kingsbridge Armory in the United People's Republic of the Bronx, where I live. And those of you from New York know what that means. And about 10 minutes into the attacks, the armory was full. And after the second plane hit, my first sergeant said to me, "Mount up, we're going down." No orders from Albany came down. And that's important to remember. Last year, some of you may have seen the speech I did during 9/11 Truth, and for some strange reason they've asked me back. And I spoke to you while receiving a liter of oxygen to compensate for the loss of 80% of my respiration capacity. My doctors at Sinai and at Memorial Sloan Kettering and I didn't expect a lot of us who are dealing with asbestosis to make it to this year. And much to the regret of the architects of 9/11, we're still here. And we're still in the news. And we're still suing these assholes. And we're still thirsty for revenge. I don't got a lot of air, so let me do this. It was 6 years since I went with my unit as an E5. I still got my ID and my combat coin with me. Down the West Side Highway into the pile. And here are the stats. More than 3,000 cops, Port Authority, and Transit Authority officers have filed for 9/11 related disability claims in New York City. Only 116 have been approved.
Whoa.
More than 600 firefighters have had to take early retirement because of permanent disability respiratory illnesses attributed to 9/11. The estimated number of ground zero responders is 40,000. The estimated number of people exposed to moderate to severe contamination is about 410,000. Did any of you ever hear about the cleanup of downtown in Chinatown? No? Neither did I. At least 12 deaths from cancer have been blamed directly on the immediate dust cloud, resulting in the immediate building collapses. 3.6% of 25,000 ground zero workers have developed asthma directly resulting from work at the site, a 12 times higher rate than that of the general public. In April of 2007, the DOH published data that found that half of the 8,418 survivors of the World Trade Center reported significant respiratory symptoms directly after 9/11. Of the 9,442 responders tested between 2002 to 2004, 69% reported new or worsened respiratory symptoms after ground zero. 174 of us have died. So, I'm going to do one of the stunts I did last year. Can this side of the room stand up? Thanks. Take a look. If this room was full of ground zero workers, this is how many would be disabled right now. In 5 years, this is how many would be dead. Thanks. So those are our stats, and they're not getting better, they're getting worse, because the longer you have this crack in your system, the asbestos, the concrete, the mercury, the PCBs, the list goes on, the worse it gets. The psychological trauma from ground zero is significant for anybody who was down there. I will go into details about what was down there during my 10 days from when I got there to when I left. I was there day one, unless we're at McSorley's and you're buying. And if you weren't there, you don't really need to know. But the reality is that the physical conditions that we're facing are killing rescue workers. They're physically killing us. So, actions. Dr. Thomas Frieden, MD, MPH, is the Commissioner of the New York City Department of Health. His office is on the 3rd floor at 161 Worth Street. Can I read you a quote from Dr. Thomas Frieden? Thank you. Dr. Thomas Frieden said, it's too early to know the full extent to which exposure to carcinogens and other toxic and stressful working conditions will lead to elevated rates of cancer, and whether the rescue, recovery, and cleanup workers will suffer from more cardiovascular disease and other chronic diseases. Even in the full suite of research efforts and progress, we may never produce the evidence needed to answer all the questions that will be raised about the long-term health effects of September 11th. Mayor Michael Bloomberg is now spent, and this was in the New York Times for the past 4 months and in the Daily News for the past 2 years, has spent now in total $41 million of federal money given to New York City out of the $200 million given directly designated for 9/11 first responders to bring us the health care that we need. He spent $41 million using that to defend against disability claims.
Oh.
Does anybody need Michael Bloomberg's address?
Yeah.
Okay, it's City Hall. If you honor our efforts on that day, then fight for us now. It's hard to yell at City Hall, at the Department of Health, at the CDC, the Center for Disease Control, at the NIH, at the state capitol when you can't breathe. Christy Todd Whitman is still held unaccountable for her specific acts of criminal negligence that directly caused our illness, our deaths. First responders have been to DC by the dozens. Look around this room. Now get a bus to DC. Knowing the truth is not enough. We have to learn in this movement how to hold them accountable by every means necessary. Leaving the people who came to the country's aid on its darkest moment in our nation's history to their own means when we are sick through the occupational hazards of those rescue efforts is hideous. They are only as vulnerable to prosecution as we make them. We have to take the betrayal of my 40,000 rescue workers to the Supreme Court, to the Rayburn building, to the Cannon building in Washington, D.C. We have to speed up the process because cancer isn't working on our time frames. We can instigate radical change, demand more from ourselves and each other, and accept nothing less than a real prosecution of Giuliani, Bloomberg, Frieden, Whitman. The list goes on for what they did to our lives. A day comes, if you want it, when 40,000 of us will join you in the streets. A day comes when everything becomes possible. A day comes when the truth is as powerful as any chemotherapy in burning away the cancers of this cover-up. That day comes when we want it.